loosen that up. And sorry, this bit here, back. All right, there you are. Okay, so we're gonna be working on our lower legs today and working on our hamstrings, calves, and feet. And you can see I got a little skelly here, because why is that important? Well, it's important because it's all connected, right? From the bottom of our foot all the way up that kinetic chain, going up even up through the skull. But so whatever part of this backside that we work on, we're going to be affecting the next part of our body. And you don't know where your ischial tuberosities are? Fancy word for sits bones. So your sits bones are that kind of bony spot right there in the crease there of your bum. And you can see it right here on Skelly. And the ischial tuberosities or sits bones, the hamstrings attach to them. And then they kind of attach down to the underside or just below the kneecap, right? So that when we bend our knee, we use our hamstring. But why is this important is because if we're pulling, or if those hamstrings are tight and they're pulling on this pelvis, right, your pelvis, let me move this over a little bit. If it's pulling on your pelvis, what it will do is it might kind of tip that pelvis forward a little bit and give a little extra strain on the muscles here, right, the QL muscle that's attaching your hips to your spine, and hence can start to kind of pull on the vertebrae. So it's all connected. You see this a lot if I'm trying to, like, say, straighten out your leg, and if you try to straighten out your leg and you round your spine, well then that's probably that hamstring tight is pulling and giving that little extra tuck rather than being able to straighten out the spine and straighten out the leg. So we're going to work on the whole thing today, and hopefully it's going to really help all of us. It helps if you've been sitting all day, it helps if you've been standing all day, or walking a lot, or you have legs and backs and bodies. Right? So I'm going to have you stand up and have that chair kind of right behind you. And I'm going to adjust my view a little bit here. Yeah, have that chair behind you. And kind of check out where it is, because we're going to do a few little squats just to warm up that back side of our body. Oh, I love this. I have a TV set up now so I could see you guys so much better. So if I'm looking away from you, I'm really looking at you. Okay, so you're going to just go ahead and bend your knees, lean back on your heels a little bit, do your little squat, and just a little touch of your chair, and then stand up. So you're not going to sit in your chair. You're just going to tap it, and then stand up and squeeze your bum again. While you're doing this, see if you can have your feet like a good hip distance apart, right? Let them be maybe even a shoulder distance apart. And then also as you do this, notice too, if this is cranking your knees, only go as far as you can with your knees feeling really happy and comfortable. And do a few more. Okay, so this one, we're gonna try to create a little more heat. So I want you to just barely touch and pause there. Like you're barely gonna touch that chair. You're almost gonna touch that chair. I know, breathe, breathe, breathe. Nice straight, tall spine, strong belly, and then whew, stand it up. Nice work. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do is sit down in your chair, and we're gonna actually work from our hip down to our feet. And I'm gonna change this angle again a little bit so you can see me better. Okay, so while you're sitting in your chair, we're gonna do a little test and retest. I'll sit this way a little bit. So in this test and retest, you're gonna take your hands and hold on to the inside of your thigh or underneath your knee. And then you can kind of round your spine a little bit and take your chin to chest and forehead to knee. Take a breath or two here. Good, and then you can bring your head back up and then see if you can start to iron out your spine and engage that core. And now with your foot relaxed, slowly start to straighten out that leg and see where you can go. Right, find your truth without collapsing in the spine. And it may not go straight, it might look like this. That's okay, as long as you're feeling a little stretch somewhere and you're keeping integrity in the spine, then you win. So I want you to take a few breaths here. Oh, here's Panda. Hey Pan, he's joined us. And then go ahead and bend your knee and let it go, and let's explore the other side. So just grabbing on, chin to chest, rounding spine as if maybe forehead could find your knee. Take a breath or two here. Notice the places where you're feeling any tension or pulls or stress or tugs. And loosen the grip on your leg a little bit and begin to iron out your spine. Nice, straight, strong spine. And then with that soft ankle, just exploring, looking for a little stretch here. And then you're gonna pause wherever you feel that stretch. Take a breath or two here. Keep lengthening through the spine. Take a moment to notice your feels. What are you feeling here? Good. And then go ahead and let that go. So that's going to be our little test and retest. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to use my plus size ball, which is probably equivalent to about a tennis ball. And what I want you to do is you're going to find your ischial tuberosity, right? The sits bones. You hear that a lot in classes, like sit on your sits bones, right? And so I want you to take the ball and place it in your leg, so it's a little south of your bum, but just below that sits bone. And this is where having a block for your feet is handy, because it makes it a little more comfortable. As you see, my foot's on the block here. And then what I want you to do is just kind of squeeze your bum and kind of try to engage that back side of your leg a little bit. And you'll start to feel the muscle and it pushing down into the ball. And this is just so that we can get an idea of where that attachment is and where the hamstrings are. So you're just looking for a little space where you can feel that. And you might need to, readjust the ball a little bit, right, left, up or down. Good. And then you're just going to take your knee and you're going to go in and out so that the ball has to kind of flop over that tendon back and forth. And so right now I felt like, it's a little too low, so I'm just going to move the ball and try a different spot. Okay, if you're doing this work and you don't like me, you don't like you don't like the tune-up balls anymore, that means you're in a little bit too deep and you need to back off until you find a way that you can like us all again. Now, if I put more weight or if I use that block for a little more support, it's going to be a little easier or kinder, right, on this attachment here. Whew. Good job. And then I want you to take the ball, maybe move it down maybe an inch or two, a couple inches. And now we're gonna, you might need to hang on to something a little bit here, but now you're gonna move your whole leg back and forth. And again, you might need to rearrange that ball a little bit so that you have, that ball can kind of saw the leg back and forth a little. And they are balls, they roll, so it's often that we need to rearrange and readjust. Now my foot's not on the block, it's just kind of hanging out there. And I can feel the ball keeps moving more and more towards the inner thigh, and I'm feeling more towards the outer thigh, so I'm just gonna pick up the ball and move it a little bit closer to my outer thigh. And as I move towards my outer thigh, I'm getting into this really nice space to work in. And that's where our IT band and the septum of vastus lateralis, or another quadricep muscle, kind of wraps around. So if you have a little IT band syndrome, you can get a little gummy here, and so you can get a little bit extra tight or cranky. And so let's find that muscle. So what I want you to do is take your hand, you can take the ball out, and then take your hands and see I have the side seam of my pant here. You're gonna slide under, and then you'll feel like there's this like little something you can hang on to. If you go down by the knee, maybe about 3 or 4 inches up from the knee, it might be a little more evident, and then you can follow it. It almost feels like it wraps around, like there's a little seam inside your body, which actually there is. And you're gonna start to kind of follow it right up towards your bum. And so we want to try to hook the ball in that little seam, if you will. And you can see here's like the end of my bum, here's the ball. So somewhere in that area. And then all I'm doing is I'm trying to wedge the ball into there, and then I'm just kind of leaning and sliding my leg a little bit towards the ball. And I might micromanage that, move it up a little or down a little. I can even come down a little further. In fact, let's start to work our way down more towards the knee. Just kind of following that. Good job. If for some reason you feel completely like you don't get it or something like that, raise your hand. I can see you now, so I will be able to help. Awesome. so now we're gonna do is you have like the muscle belly right here, kind of in the middle of the thigh. So I want you to place the ball in that muscle belly. You can kind of see where it is on my chair. And again, I'm just gonna do this little back and forth motion. It's my leg is literally kind of going in and out here. And as it goes in and out, I can use my hand to push down onto the thigh to create a little more pressure if I need that. Good. And then again, micro adjust, maybe move it down a little or up a little bit. And work there. Good. Okay, so by now you're starting to feel probably your own legs and notice things, certain areas that might be a little tighter or a little more cranky. So I want you to find a spot somewhere in your hamstring area there that felt a little cranky. I'm going to talk to you a little louder. And then you put the ball there. And then we're slowly going to be straightening out the knee and bending the leg. Now we're working the ball like while we're sitting because it is kinder to the sciatic nerve. So the sciatic nerve runs right down and through the middle of the hamstrings, down through to the foot from the back, or actually from the head. So we want to keep a slight bend in our knee. You don't want to really kind of aggravate it. If you're doing this work and something feels nervy, it feels pinchy, it feels numb, it feels like a zing of pain or heat, that means you're probably on the nerve and you just want to move off it. You want to move the ball up, down, right, or left so that it feels good. And I'm just actually moving this ball down my leg, doing a couple of these little movements here, bending and straightening while I keep moving my ball. I can see moving it like every maybe one or two bend and straightens, because those are technical terms. Flexing and extending. All right, good job, good enough. All right, take a moment, sit down on your chair. You can put your feet on your block, or make sure you're standing or your feet are on the floor. Close your eyes and take a breath. Just feel the two legs, how that feels in your body. Good. All right, and so let's do our little test, retest. So go ahead and grab hold of the back side of the thigh you just worked on. And we're going to inhale, lift up out of the low back, engage your core, soft ankle, and then explore and notice if anything has shifted or changed, if it feels like you have a little more space and a little bit more room to move. You have a little more mobility here. Nice. Feels good to me. All right, so we're just going to move down this leg. We're going to work on the calf a little bit. You can keep one ball in hand. You can actually have two. If you have two balls, you can grab both balls. And we're going to work on our calf. And we're just going to let the leg be kind of soft here, hanging and dangling. And I'm just kind of pummeling on both sides with my hand and the ball, and tenderizing my gastrocs. Because they can be kind of tender, you know. And as you do this, you can see my ankles kind of flippity-floppiting because I'm trying to let go of any tension that I'm holding there. Good. And then right from here, you're going to take that ball, place it in your knee pit, right? And then bend your knee and clasp your hands around your shin. Now lift up out of that low back a little bit just because we can. And give a little squeeze here. And then go ahead and roll your ankle around in different directions. So this class was actually inspired from the long walks that have been going on with my friends. I call them the Anis. And we've been going for 4 or 5 mile walks, sometimes more. And boy, my legs are getting so cranky. And last night, like all of us, I know how to take care of myself, but I don't necessarily always do it because I'm human. And so I decided to finally take care of myself, and wow, go ahead and just keep moving that ball around. You can move it down towards different parts of your calf on the outside and on the inside. Most of you have done, almost all of you have done all this work with me before, so I'm just kind of trusting that you know how to listen to your body and follow the calls. But this totally shifted my evening and my night. I felt so much better. And so just working and exploring this whole gastrocs area. And for me, it's been bothering me, and I've been having a little knee pain. So I've been working on this medial side of the calf. And for me, that's been extra tender. So if that's you, you might want to explore that. If you've been having a little inside knee pain, it could be part of it. Good, and then go ahead and release that and put the ball down. I'm gonna take hold once again, just below that thigh there, on the underneath of the thigh. Inhale, lift up out of the low back. And then again, just explore wherever that space is for you, where you're feeling that stretch. Make sure the leg or the foot is kind of relaxed. And take a breath or two here. Good, and then go ahead and bend. And then chin to chest, round your spine. Take a forehead to knee, take a couple breaths here. And maybe even noticing any differences in tugs and pulls up through the spine, maybe even up through the head and the neck. And then go ahead and release that. Okay, last piece for this side is we're gonna work on the foot. So you can do this either sitting down or you can do it standing up. I'm gonna move this so you can see a little bit better my foot. Good. I like to use the original size ball. So if you have an OG, you might wanna try that. But if you have a tennis ball that's about the size of a plus size, that'll work too. And we're just gonna do a quick little roll out of our foot. So I'm gonna take the ball right to the arch of the foot. And again, I can do this sitting down as well, right? So whatever serves you is perfect. And we're just gonna do a nice little roll back and forth. It's kind of like the ball's like a little rolling pin and you're rolling out the plantar fascia of your foot. And just trying to get maybe the big toe, the middle, the pinky side of the foot. And balls roll away. Good. All right, and then you're just gonna pause right in the center of the arch there. See if your heel will let, oop, I'm falling here. See if your heel will let you find the ground. It may not, that's okay. And then you can slowly start to kind of lean into that foot. Just taking a breath or two. Again, you should still like me, you should still like you, but there'll probably be a lot of feelings involved with this. Good, and then you can let the heel come up a little bit if you need to, and you're just gonna go a little side to side. So I have my kind of ball mounts of my foot on the floor, and I'm just twizzling my foot side to side there. This is just like a quick little bit of love. It doesn't even take much. And then last bit, I'm gonna take that ball, like if this were my foot, I'm gonna take it right to the bottom of the ball mounts there, and kind of lean in there, and do that same little, maybe a little bit inversion and eversion now. So instead of like this, I'm doing this with my ankle, inverting and everting. Good, in any spots that feel a little cranky, give them a little extra love. Good, and then just one little big toe, kind of thumbs up there. Got the ball right under my big toe. And maybe take a little step forward and bend that knee. Get a little stretch there. Good, anything else that your foot might feel like it needs? Give it that. Good, go ahead and release. If you're standing, just close your eyes, stay standing. Take a moment to feel the right side and left sides of your body. And become aware of any differences and sensations. And then open your eyes. Awesome. So I don't know about you, but I actually can feel it right up through my head. Let's go ahead and take care of the other side. So before we do, just a quick little reminder to this side and how it feels. Oh, let's do a real quick test and retest of that leg again. Same leg you've just been working on. Grab hold, inhale, lift up out of the low back, and then find that little bit of stretch. And take a couple breaths here. Good, bend the knee, chin to chest, rounding through the spine. And become aware of what the feels are here. And then go ahead and release that. Okay, other side, just to remember now. Clasp, inhale, lift up. Find some length here and through the back side of the leg. Go ahead and release, rounding forward. If you're a carrier, you can even try to straighten out the leg a little bit here with your head towards your knee, and then take it back up again. Awesome. All right, so coming back to those ischial tuberosities, the sits bones. You're gonna take the ball, right, just south of the gluteal fold, and you sit down on that. And this is where you might need that block underneath the foot that you're working on. And once you find that spot, right, you shouldn't be on the bone, you're just a little south of the glutes. You're just gonna do a little like, you can see my leg, a little internal, external rotation, actually my hip. And then the ball will kind of blink, blink over the attachment points of the hamstrings, or maybe a little bit lower, it's all good. And then from there you can kind of micromanage if you need to. You can pause for a moment and imagine you could kick your heel in towards your butt and you'll feel that hamstring engage and then relax. You can do that a few times, it'll contract and relax. And all I'm doing is imagining my heel can move towards my butt, but the chair's not letting that happen. And then release. Okay, so we're gonna make this movement bigger now. So now I'm literally like bringing my leg in adduction and abduction, right? My leg is swiveling. And as it swivels, the ball is rolling right into the inner thigh and the outer thigh. If I want to create more pressure, I can take my hand on my thigh and I can kind of press down and create more pressure. What I didn't say is if this is too much pressure, you can sit on a pillow, right? You can sit on a blanket. You can just move yourself onto something that is squishier so it absorbs some of that depth. And now I'll begin to move the ball down maybe just a little bit, maybe another inch or so, and explore that. I'm always fascinated by how one leg can feel so different than the other. Knowing that and loving that. Good. All right, and then we're going to find that where the vastus lateralis is, or the septum here. So if I take my hands and I slide around, and I'm kind of close to my, not right on my knee, but a few inches away, you'll feel this little spot you can gather and grab onto. And then we're just going to keep moving our way down the leg, and just following that septum. And it does, it feels like there's something wrapping around something, and it's kind of like the casings of a sausage, like literally the fascia is wrapping underneath. Good, so now that we know where that is, you're gonna take the ball so that kind of hooks into that little septum here. And as I go up towards my glutes, this is a nice place to work where the tendon of IT band, the glutes all start to come together here. And all I'm doing is pushing in, and I'm kind of turning my leg inwards, so the ball's gonna try to pop out, and I lean into that a little bit, just like a plow here. And then I might move the ball down a little bit and do it in a different spot, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and say, explore what works best for you. Also, a lot of times, if we have like plantar fasciitis, sometimes it's the source of that plantar fasciitis isn't necessarily coming from our foot. It can be coming from, up that chain. And sometimes when we're working on things, we can get little aches and pains or little referrals that can kind of help give us clues as to what's causing what. Right, so now we're going to work more in the belly of the hamstring, kind of like that meat or the middle part of the back of your thigh. And again, we're just going to do this little motion back and forth. I'm going to let you explore here. Maybe do a couple swipes, move to a new spot. Right, listen to your body. So I was explaining how sometimes what's going on in one part of our body might be attributed to a different part of the body. And I'm saying that because honestly, I'm getting like an aha moment for myself. As I was working in those areas, I was feeling a lot of tension in my TFL and my hip flexors. And this leg's been having a little bit of plantar fasciitis. And I know that tensor fascia latae and plantar fasciitis the imbalance there can translate down into the foot. And so for me, I was just making that connection. So you might find your own little connections. You don't have to understand it all, but know that you're probably working in a good spot. Good. So once you've gotten down that whole leg, I want you to find a spot that felt a little cranky and do this little bend and straighten. And all you're going to do is do that maybe 2 times and then move to a new spot. Remembering that if you feel any zings, sensations that feel nervy, then it may mean you're getting close to that sciatic nerve. and it's just time to move that ball up, down, right, or left until it feels better. Also noticing for me, like my inner thighs, adductors are a little cranky, so I can't see the ball because I'm working more medially, but you listen to your body and work on the places that are calling you. Good. All right, last one. Nice work. All right, we're not going to go through all the tests of each one, but I want you to take the ball now to the knee pit, into my knee pit. I'm going to clasp hold of my shin, and then inhale, lift up out of the low back, and I'm just going to give a little wiggle here. And I want to get right up into my knee pit. You can move the ball, try it in the ball a little bit towards the outside of your knee and then towards the inside of the knee as well. Good. All right, and then put your ball down for a second and or hold your ball and give your calf a little meat tenderizing. You can do both at the same time or one hand then another. It's all good. Just a nice little warm up. Good. All right, so going back to the knee pit, but we're gonna move down now a little bit. So we're more in the kind of meat of the gastrocs. The gastrocs is the outer layer of our calves. And just keep kind of that little hold like it was like a walnut. You're trying to crack the walnut, and you gotta wiggle your ankles to get in there, right? And just a couple wiggles, couple squeezes, and then move the ball either up, down a little, right or left a little bit into what serves you. And what serves you is usually those places that feel, I say, awfully good, right? That there's something in there. What's going on? Let yourself get curious. All right, starting to move the ball down a little bit lower now so that you're more in the horseshoe of the gastrocs. And if you're in the horseshoe, I'm gonna say, you know, try to just explore in there, especially right and left. This is the soleus. It's kind of getting into the muscle underneath our calf muscle, or what we call our calf muscle. And yeah, I think it's kind of a neglected muscle that's super important. In fact, they've actually linked go ahead and take it, keep taking it down and just keep moving to different places. They've actually linked the health of your soleus muscle, the deep calf muscle, to cardiovascular health or cardiac health. So I thought that was interesting. All right, nice work. All right, let that go. And we're gonna stand ourselves up. And we're gonna work on your foot. So I'm gonna switch balls for me. Whatever you have is perfect. You can take the ball right underneath your foot, and we're just gonna roll, do a little bit of roly-poly here. Just like a rolling pin, warming up all the fascial layers of the foot. If for some reason this feels crampy or really cranky, sometimes it's just a matter of you're in too deep, or sometimes it's just hydration. We just need to hydrate. Good. Okay, pause. Take the ball so that it's right about in the middle of your arch, and then invite your heel to sink towards the ground a little bit. And so if I lean my weight on the opposite foot, it's going to be kinder. When I start to shift my weight towards the ball foot, it's going to talk to me. Right, and then I'm gonna invert and evert. So my foot's kind of doing this, inverting and everting rather than back side to side. But whatever you're doing, if you're feeling some sensation, you win. Right, you're doing great. I love that I have the TV now so that I can see you with my. This is great. So much better. Okay, and then you're gonna move the ball down a little bit lower, so it's just underneath the ball mounts of your foot. And again, just in and out, a little inversion and eversion, trying to work on all the little joints there underneath the ball mounts of the feet. Good. Any last little bits or pieces that feel good? Give yourself that. And then taking the ball so that it's just by your big toe. And like a Fonzie. Yeah. And maybe taking a step forward, you can bend the front knee and then even bend the back knee a little bit, getting into that soleus muscle. And I could feel where I got into it and where I didn't. It's really evident right now. Just notice what your body feels like. Good, take it back up, and I'm just gonna take my other toes so they don't feel left out. And then release. All right, almost done. Take it back to your seat. Take it back to your seat, and the leg we just worked on, you go ahead and clasp underneath your thigh. Inhale, lift up out of the low back. Soft ankle, just explore and see maybe the feels that are present for you. Take a breath or two here and sit in the sensation. Good, and then you can go ahead and bend the knee, chin to chest, round the spine. So forehead could touch knee, take a breath or two here. Just remember the first time you try to touch your head to your knee and how that felt. If you're feeling sassy, you can try to straighten out this leg here a little bit too. And then go ahead and release. Sit yourself up. Pat on your back. Good job, everybody. I like your pats. Yay! Good job. Give yourself a hug. Nice. All right, so I don't really have a nice little centering today, but I think your legs and your backs will feel a lot happier from all the work that we've done today. And as you were doing this, I'm hoping that you, even in the test and retest, there were certain areas in my body that were talking to me. And for me, that's my sign. Okay, if I was going to continue on, then I'd migrate to those areas that are still talking. So thanks, everybody. Please share if any inspirations, anything you guys might want to work on, some parts of your body that might be ailing you or your hearts. Let me know. Thanks. Namaste.